Magi chapter 278. To be honest with you all, I'm on the fence about this chapter. One side, I can see why Cohen kind of backed down and he surrendered. I can see from one side's perspective. And on the other side's perspective, I'm kind of disappointed in him actually backing down. See, I want to go into both sides, okay, before I really talk about the ending conclusion of this chapter. Cohen, he was set up with last week's chapter with, like, this epic battle coming. Like, what we saw coming, it was going to be colossal. I mean, Sinbad was coming in, Hakuryu, and then also Cohen. The battle was going to be intense if there would have been a battle. We come to find out that there isn't going to be a battle. Cohen decided to surrender. And there's multiple things I know that readers of this chapter are going to look at when it comes to Cohen. They're either A, going to say, at the very least, he has a loving heart and he knows when to back down for his subordinates and brothers and sisters. And then on the other side, people are going to call him a coward because he backed down, didn't do what he wanted to do, and also he didn't, really do anything to stop what was happening to his kingdom before Hakuryu came in and finished off his mother. So there's many things that readers of this chapter are going to say. It's going to be a very divided chapter. But like I said, though, I'm on the fence. I don't really know what side I want to choose, but let's go over both sides. So, this chapter is kind of like a time skip. Like, we had a time skip, I think a 6-day time skip, I think we did. So, it's been like 5 or 6 days after the war, and so we don't really get to see exactly the aftermath, like, a couple hours after, to where, they were probably doing stuff with bodies, and then also, reorganizing armies. We didn't get to see none of that stuff, so it's been 6 days, and we move over to Cohen being captured, and he's imprisoned at the moment and tied up, and that's kind of where the chapter begins. And from this, I know many, even I was when I read this chapter, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what? When we find out, he surrendered, and as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, really? All the hype that was built up for that, and then, he surrenders? But then I was thinking about it like this. See, if Cohen was stupid, or if he was a person that didn't really care about his subordinates, allies, or his family, he probably would have continued fighting. Like, let me explain. See, him backing down, and from what we learned in this chapter, was that him backing down and surrendering caused it to where his fellow subordinates and stuff will not be harmed. They won't be executed because of, being against Hakuryu and Sinbad. And to see it like that, it's kind of respectable how Cohen was able to back down and allow himself to lose for the cost of saving everybody else around him. So it was a noble act he did, and it makes it not really seem like he's a complete coward, but in some ways, from what we get to see of him in this chapter, I can't really say that he's not a coward, for certain reasons, but I will get into that in a moment. Things, though, I want to talk about is to see how Hakuryu finally finds out why his brother, Cohen, never did anything about Alphaman. For instance, why Alphaman was just, taking control of the entire Co-Empire, and, Cohen wasn't really even trying to stop it. Like, he was just sitting on the sidelines. He was using, Hakuryu's mother, Gyokuin, and using her power to be able to continuously kind of expand his efforts and his dream to be able to unite everybody where there is no war. And so, we come to find out the reasons behind why Cohen never did anything, why he never really helped Hakuryu, and why Hakuryu was always by himself. And from a sense like that, I'm actually slightly with Hakuryu on this one. I mean, Cohen has had a lot of power, and some of the dialogue he says in this chapter does make a lot of sense of why he didn't really strike at Gyokuin, but the meaning is still there. Hakuryu struggled and fought by himself to free his people, and then Cohen didn't really try to help him, just left him on the side and let him do what he only wanted, and Hakuryu felt betrayed because he was the only one that was really trying to do anything, and he knew that Cohen also knew about the tragedy of what happened to his father and family. And just to see that, it makes me wonder how many are going to look at Cohen's character after this chapter, because seeing his reasoning and saying, like, he was afraid of the organization, he was afraid of Gyokuin, it just labels Cohen kind of as a coward. It does. And, like I said, both sides looking at it, one side's going to be where, like, it's very honorable, he backed down, saved his family and subordinates. Other side is he backed down from even trying to help out Hakuryu and let him fight on his own and turned into what he's done. So, One or the other. Now, I do like the line that revenge is pointless. I like that line quite a bit from Koen in this chapter. It was really great the way Hakuryu heard that, and he got really pissed off. Great line. Probably the best dialogue in this chapter. Now, besides that, moving on to the ending segment of the chapter, we come to find out that Gokuen might still be alive, which I think we all knew by now that she would not necessarily be dead, because there was just way too much with her death that was, like, left unanswered. I mean, when it came to the smile when her head came off, it just felt very different than it should have been, especially if someone's looking at death. Like, when someone sees death coming at you, like, you know you're gonna die, usually their face will show something different, like a look of terror, like they don't want to fucking die. And the look of Gyokuen when she died, it didn't seem like that. It seemed like she's like, oh, I'll be back and I'll kick your ass next time around. And to kind of see that dialogue at the end of the chapter, like the final panel, it makes you assume that she will come back and she's not really gone. And I kind of figured that. I think we all knew by now that, you know, she would probably come back some way or another. But this kind of slightly confirms it now, that with that dialogue, that wouldn't be written there by the mangaka if it wasn't a possibility. And now we have to wonder, will Koen get executed? Will he get executed? Will he get imprisoned forever? I mean, there's many questions up on the table right now, because, I mean, it can go any way, and, I mean, Sinbad right now probably has a lot of say-so, too, when it comes to the execution of Koen, and, I mean, of course, Sinbad would want to get rid of one of his rivals, if you think about it. I mean, like Koen, he would probably want to get rid of him, and, yeah. So, how do you all feel about this chapter? I'm just curious. Let me know. What side are you on? Are you on the side that actually understands and respects Koen after what he did? Or are you on the side that is saying he's a coward? Or are you on the middle side, like the middle neutral territory like me, and don't really know what to label Koen as after this chapter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You'll have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.